Shopping at Goodwill is definitely a hit or miss experience, and I happened to get very lucky when I went to a Goodwill recently and I was able to find 2 complete sets of sheets plus an additional flat sheet, all in the same chiffon pink color. I've had an idea for a while of making a super ruffly pink skirt with a kind of girly feminine blouse to go with it, so I knew these sheets would be perfect for that project. I try to always go to Goodwill with at least several projects in mind, because then I'm much more likely to find what I'm looking for. The skirt will be cut as a flat circle with a wide waistband. It will then have 7 alternating rows of ruffles down the length of the skirt. The first blouse will have a high collar with ruffle detail. It will have a round yoke bib. It will have full sleeves with cuffs that will have ruffle detailing, and the bodice will be fitted. The second blouse will also be fitted and will have very full sleeves with ruffle details around the square neckline as well as the cuff of the sleeves. Well, with 3 flat sheets and 2 fitted sheets, I've got enough fabric to have ruffles for days on this skirt. I'm super excited to have all this fabric to work with, which is one of the real benefits of using bed sheets for fabric. And what I really like about these sheets is that if you look up close, they're each just a slightly different shade from each other and have just a slightly different texture. So I think that's going to add a lot of fun interest to all the rows of ruffles that I'm going to have on the skirt.
I don't typically use a pattern to make my skirts. Instead, I measure how long I want the skirt to be, and then using some math, determine the diameter for the skirt as well as for the waistline. Then I used my yardstick to mark off the stitch lines for the rows of ruffles. Cutting the strips for the ruffles was also determined by math. Who knew? My ruffling foot on my serger came in very handy for making what seemed like endless linear feet of ruffles. I pinned the ruffles to the marked lines on the skirt and proceeded to pin and stitch them in place. It was so much fun once the ruffles were sewn in place to lay the skirt out flat on the ground and see all the fun texture and movement created by the ruffles. Then I added a waistband reinforced with interfacing for strength. I used some existing sewing patterns that I altered for the bodice and sleeves of the first blouse. Then I measured and added my own collar, yoke bib, sleeve cuffs, and ruffles. The second blouse was made using the top half of a dress pattern. I added some additional ruffles to create my vision for the blouse.
As I had hoped, combining the slightly different sets of sheets with the subtle differences in texture and color actually made for some really fun interest in the different layers of ruffles. I have a simple petticoat under the skirt to give it more shape. Since the skirt is a full circle of fabric, it has lots of shape and fullness when thrown. This first blouse is a more classic design, and I used a new presser foot I bought for my sewing machine to make these really cool pleated ruffles that I used around the neckline, the bib, and the sleeves, and it was really fun and actually a really cool time saver. The second blouse is based on a more contemporary style, but still has some ruffle accents to it. The simple square neckline creates a great backdrop for a variety of necklace styles.
My first photo shoot was styled with a Victorian flair. My client wore a vintage cameo necklace and her hair was styled in a loose, elegant updo. I put some vintage roses in her hair that I made by simply hot gluing alligator clips to the back of artificial flowers. I photographed her in my studio on my light gray painted backdrop. I love the soft pink color palette and Victorian look of these portraits. My next photo shoot was of a beautiful ballerina. I wanted to combine classic styling with some modern accessories, so she wore a contemporary lace blouse and wide black leather belt with subtle Victorian details. I added a simple black necktie, and the very talented Paige Palmer styled her hair in a high updo. To complete the nostalgic mood of the photo shoot, I seated my ballerina on a vintage steamer trunk and photographed her on my blush pink backdrop. I directed her through the posing to show off the fullness and ruffles of the skirt. I am in love with these portraits. I styled the outfit for my daughter's photo shoot with a rustic cowgirl flare. I used brown as my accent color in the wide silver studded belt, high heel leather boots, and squash blossom necklace. I photographed her at a local ranch in front of a wood-paneled, Western-inspired building. I kept her hair full and wavy, and we had fun throwing the skirt and playing with its fullness. I am a sucker for the look of tailored fitted jackets. To me, they're the perfect combination of femininity and strength. So I chose this black corduroy jacket from White House Black Market for my photo shoot. It's a modern jacket but has some subtle Victorian detailing, including the slight puff to the sleeve. I paired it with a vintage-inspired black and silver necklace and earrings, and wore a black bolero hat. I also did some portraits wearing this Victorian-style white blouse I found at Goodwill a while back. To continue the mix of old and new, I added a wide modern black leather belt and high-heeled tall black boots. I was photographed on my dark and light gray painted backdrops in my studio. Good thing, since it was about 110 degrees outside during our Arizona summer.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to see more behind the scenes videos like this one, please click the subscribe button. This outfit is part of my studio wardrobe and is available to all my portrait clients. I devote all of my experience, resources, and energy to help my clients feel as amazing and confident as they're going to look. And if you'd like to learn more about scheduling a photo shoot with me, please click on the link to my website below.